Alright, so I actually used the 1 minute for my entry today because I didn't think the 3, and you could have used the 3. Um, I'll go over both of those in a second. So this is previous weekly high. I need to make my background white, sorry. This was previous weekly high, and ideally, I don't know if you guys saw my alert, but I said either I wanted consolidation overnight, and then London hits the 4 hour fair value gap, and then goes higher. Ideally, that would have been the best. For a London reversal, a New York continuation would have been the cleanest. That did not happen. There was SMT with YM right here. You guys can see. Same thing on the 4 hour. Here's that 4 hour fair value gap, and here's that candle from yesterday. And here's Thursday, right? So YM fails to take the previous weekly high, and it's already inside of its 4 hour fair value gap. So this is the weakest pair, and I actually wanted to short this today, but I didn't get the chance to. It ran away without me. And also, you guys can see where price is bouncing from right now, right? So from this last swing low, that took this low, right, to this high, equilibrium of the range, inside of this propulsion block. That's why you should be careful with going short now. So going back to NASDAQ, what I wanted today, since previous weekly high got taken first, the other scenario I said would be either for price to take out previous weekly high or just fail to take these, and then price would go into the 4 hour fair value gap below. So price just opened up. 8:30 pretty much took out the previous weekly high, that news driver. And if I can go in replay mode. Yeah, so this is what the 30-minute chart was looking like at the time. We had news at 8:30, and so all I was really waiting for was 9:30 and to see what was going on. And I knew that we had a data wick on Nasdaq, and also, of course, the same 4 hour fair value gap below. Now, if we go to ES, ES was the second weakest pair. It is actually inside of its 4 hour fair value gap. And ideally, again, I wanted to short ES because it would have given me a larger profit margin, but it never. You guys can see here's that same fair value gap at 9:30 on the 1 minute, and here's the same 9:30 fair value gap on the 1 minute. Obviously, much sloppier because this is the strongest asset. So I alerted earlier saying that just because there's SMT at the highs doesn't mean that I'm bearish, right? I need something significant happen. So what I wanted to see at 9:30 was some sort of lower time frame SMT because I wasn't expecting this high to get taken again and then price to move down. That would be too large of an opposing run for me. And on the 5 minute, there was no valid order block anywhere. So that's why you had to just trust the narrative and trust the lower time frame to be able to give you that model. So if I would have waited through for a 3 minute CSD, you guys can see I would have been stopped out and the objective was already met. Or if I would have got in after that 8:30, I would have missed, or I would have been stopped out. So going into the 1 minute, what did I want 9:30 to do? Since 8:30 already hit our objective, I wanted 9:30 to have a little bit of an opposing run. You guys can see how smooth these equal highs are, right? So this is what ICT teaches as smooth edges. Price manipulates these at what? A key time, so we can mark out 9:30. That's our volatility injection. And then I see that we have a candle closure below this last up close candle. So to me already, this is a light bulb moment. And then I also see a fair value gap getting created. And I understand that I'm trading the strongest asset, so I don't want to be shorting this right away. You can, but I was entering off of the propulsion block entry because that is normally your safer entry. So I wanted to see what happened here, and I also, like I said, wanted to short YM, but I couldn't get a chance to because it just died. So we go to the 1 minute. Here is there wasn't a pullback, right? You would have just had to short this candle closure all the way down here, and I don't normally do that. And you guys can see it actually took it went all the way lower with pretty much out any retracements until the EQ the range. Same thing on ES, never got into its 930 fair value gap. So what did I do? Looked at NASDAQ because at least NASDAQ was going to reprice to this 830 low for the most part. And ideally, like I said, we still had that 4-hour draw lower. So fair value gap gets created, gets rebalanced. I like how this opening price of this up close candle is sensitive. I like that was what I was seeing here. And then I saw another closure below, and this is where I was looking to go short. And also on the 3-minute, this was very clean. So we have, this would be your CSD on the 3-minute. You guys can see external or internal range high gets taken. Nice little rejection, and then a change in the state of delivery here, and you also have a breaker here. But the 1-minute was still clean as well, and actually better risk to reward. So understanding that I was trading the weaker asset, or the strongest asset, and it's NFP weak. So if you're going to be trading the strongest asset and it's NFP weak, you need to have wiggle room for your stop. So I went short here, or I went short here off of this fair value gap actually, and I had my stop loss at the high of this up close candle. And ideally, it should have been here, but the risk to reward would have been skewed, so I just trusted that my bias was correct. So this ideally was the best entry, 935, and you could have had a much better risk to reward, right? This could have been your entry, and you would have had a 3R target to the 830 low. So I wanted to see this 930 low get cleared first, because I understood that once again I was trading the stronger asset, and ES was already at its 830 low pretty much, and I didn't really want to get caught off sides. So as soon as another fair value gap gets created, and you guys can see the candles are starting to get larger, right? This is giving me more confirmation that I'm correct. Displacement. See the difference between this fair value gap size and this one? So that's why I was trusting this. And so now with the fair value gap and an order block in front of my stop loss, I'm getting more confident in the entry, and also wicks or gaps. So I like to enter and have large wicks in front of my entries. So I got tagged in right here. Stop loss was at the candle high, and my take profit was the 830 low. We played price. As soon as I saw that, I knew I was on side. And as soon as I got this candle, I moved my stop to break even. There's zero reason for price to come all the way back up here, especially when there's a bunch of SMT. And also, we're getting close to that new 10 a.m. open. So all of those things, while again trading the strongest asset, also being below midnight price, I do not want to be holding on to profits just for another, let's see, 4 points to get a 2R. I'm cool with 1.88, and you guys can see that the last alert that I sent out, I got out on my last contract because I was holding one for the 4-hour fair value gap below, but I got out last for just another 50 points, which is at this 25 level, because I got filled at 75. And we pretty much caught the absolute bottom, because once I saw 10 a.m. not just plunged lower, I knew that price was most likely going to retrace up. And again, trading the strongest asset, there's a bunch of SMT at these lows, and now time is telling me that I should be getting out of my position. We're below midnight price, so that is a form of a discount. And we've taken, again, if we look at the hourly, this is the, see, failure swing, failure swing, failure swing. See the difference in the space between this and these? This is a logical area paired with SMT to where you can see some sort of reaction. Again, trading the strongest asset, again, below midnight opening price. So I got out, and I got the absolute bottom before price would have came up and stopped me out. Does that make any kind of sense? Yes, sir. Yeah, and the strength switched. Right, we're expecting, like what Shaylin said, we're expecting the strength to now have the strength from Nasdaq. Ideally, it would have been even weaker and getting into this 4-hour fair value gap, but again, it was the strongest asset. So we're expecting this to at least take the 830 low. So that's why this was the lowest hanging fruit, and pair that with another hourly failure swing over here. That's why price, you can see bottom from this area and not this 830 low. And what do you notice here, right? Consolidation above, little bit of expansion, not really violent, right? So like, this isn't really what you want to be seeing. If you're expecting continuation, you just want to see brutal, just almost capitulation, right? Continuous large down close candles in your favor. Didn't really get that when we got our logical area where we could have seen a reaction from. And again, SMT, and you start to get consolidation, and we have all those things that we just went over. What can you expect? Expansion. And we have a logical area for price to draw up into, which is this range high. And what do you look at above? Failure swing, failure swing, failure swing. So you can see how price is engineering liquidity on both sides. Anybody have any questions? Alright, I'm going to end recording.